Topic 3, communicating with clarity. Hi Ellie, this is our third topic on communication, obviously a very important topic. Communication styles. There are 4 types of communication styles. It's important that we understand them because communication really affects the workplace. It can be poor communication, can be a psychosocial hazard and can add to workplace stress. Can you explain a bit more about those communication styles?
Absolutely, Liz. So communication does shape workplace wellness, and what we want to do is think about not only what we say, but how we say it. And that's how we show up in our posture, in our body, what we say, and the method that it's delivered. So I'm going to go through some communication styles with you that really kind of highlight the different ways that we tend to communicate. So the first one really is around that assertive communication, where it's clear, where it's concise, where we say what we need to say. And that's what we want to have. We really want to have that clear style of communication, so everyone walks away from a conversation knowing exactly that the message has been received and delivered in a psychologically safe way. The next one really is aggressive communication, and that's that forceful disregard of others. Now, we do not want to see that aggressive style of communication. There is no place for that in the workplace. We also kind of want to, sometimes we have a passive style of communication where perhaps we don't give all the information, we withhold, perhaps we leave certain facts or details out. Again, that leaves people with a little bit of unknown, and that can cause a workplace psychosocial hazard. And then what we have is that passive aggressive, which is indirect, hiding our true feelings. People then lose trust with us. And the last one really is around collaborating, so making sure that we're asking and telling and really seeking feedback with others.
So if you're naturally a passive person, how would you become more assertive?
Again, it doesn't mean that we have to be big and bold. It's really about just saying what needs to be said, with the what, the why, the how, the who, the when. So making sure our communication is clearly framed, and we can do that and we can deliver that. Even if we're not as bold as other people, we're still actually getting our message across.
How can you measure the impact of your communication in real time?
Absolutely. So we talk a lot about intent and impact. So most people will go into a conversation with a really good intent. But sometimes, perhaps if we're a little bit withholding the impact of that, people may walk away going, I don't think I got the whole picture. Something's missing here. What are they not telling me? And they might feel a little bit suspicious. Perhaps they might feel something's going on in the background that they should know about. So again, the impact on the other person generally can be quite negative. So we have to check ourselves as leaders to make sure that our intent and our impact match. And that's by getting feedback from somebody else when we're talking.
And so what would your key takeaways be for our viewers?
Well, really what we want to do is make sure that we understand our communication styles, particularly when we're under stress. So quite often when we're under stress, we might revert to a style that's perhaps not always helpful for us. So again, if we're under stress, we might get a little bit aggressive, we might get a little bit hot under the collar. Again, thinking about if that's your default style, how can you start to kind of temper that a little bit and be more productive in your style? What we want to do is model assertiveness, clear, respectful, and direct communication. That's where we want to be. And we want to always check our intent and impact. So we're seeking to get feedback. That way we're stopping misunderstandings from happening. So again, if we're having a conversation, we're asking clarifying questions, we're asking for feedback so that we know that the message has gotten through.
So it's being respectful and clear.
Absolutely. They're the 2 key things that we want to do.
Very good. And I understand you've prepared a worksheet for our viewers if they want to work through these different styles and moving towards the assertiveness as opposed to the aggression, passive aggression being passive.
Absolutely. So we've got a really good sheet there that kind of talks about each of the different styles, what they look like, how we can move across, what are some things that we can do to make sure that we're minimizing and making sure that we're still having clear communication, and how do we understand intent and impact and create a really good feedback loop.
That's been very informative. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you, Liz.